So I went to this guy's house for dinner one time. His house isn't that big. It's nice, but we were all just in the living room, right? And there's maybe like 10, 15 of us. We're all just kind of crowded in there. There's a lot of us. And eventually the discussion sort of goes towards what is a woman's role in society. And a girl starts making some points about how, wait, hold on a second, for so long we've been sort of like delegated to do all of these household tasks, more sort of like housekeeping type of stuff, but we can do so much more. And she was pointing out about facts and figures about how women are doing really well. And I completely believe that. I'm sure there is a lot of data. And some of the other women sort of chimed in and they were like, yeah, we can do more than that. In general, the group enjoyed that type of discussion. There wasn't really much of a pushback. The guy's house it was sort of like not really chiming in though. He was sort of silent. He was sort of just watching TV. He was aware of the conversation. He didn't really say anything. About an hour later, one of the other gentlemen, who's easily the oldest guy there, he might be oldest by like 20, 25 years, something like that. He starts talking about how, his dad was very abusive towards his mom, and he would resort to disciplining her, using physical means, let's say. And the gentleman was just talking about how he was appalled, and how he just wanted to basically, get revenge, do something really bad to that guy, for doing that to his mom. But the guy who's been silent, who's the owner of this house, he suddenly chimes in and he says, "Oh, hold on, relax. That was just what it was like back then. Disciplining your woman was just what they did, and that's what men did." And I kind of don't want to get into the debate of whether that was the norm or whether that wasn't the norm, or whether it was wrong or not, because I think it's very obvious, that it is wrong to do that. But for him to have been a part of that conversation and then suddenly just chime in out of nowhere, even though, there was like very positive discussions about the roles of women and how we should be treating them better, for him to just sort of have been present and then sort of chime in with what he said was just, to me, was shocking, really. And it made me realize something. Like, feminism might never work because fundamentally there's no incentive for people, let's say, who are ignorant to change. I think the best way I can demonstrate this would be to talk about something like capitalism, right? So if we have a guy who believes that, how much the customers like the employees is the most important thing, but he doesn't care about profits. So he will spend more profits in order to make sure that his employees are liked. That guy will eventually be out of business because he won't be making enough money, and his competitors will simply just outcompete him. He won't have enough money to pay his employees, to buy the stock for marketing. He will eventually either stop continuing because he cannot continue, so his beliefs will be essentially buried, or he will be converted because he will realize that, wait, hold on a second, everybody's a capitalist. I cannot compete with capitalists using my philosophy. If we then go back to something like feminism, if somebody says something very sexist, they might even get a promotion, Their friendship group might, lap that stuff up. He might get more brownie points for saying something like that. You're saying that you shouldn't do this because it's the right thing to do. And I agree. But here's the thing with that type of reasoning. You can go to prison. You can go to prison for 25 years, maybe even longer, if you kill somebody. And people still do it. Millions and millions of people still do it. And as I said earlier, you might become very popular all of a sudden because you said those things. So what incentive is there for this guy to actually, not just this guy, to just sort of actually change, or to actually challenge himself and sort of think, well, hold on a second, is what I'm actually saying true? Because I shit you not, that feminist discussion from earlier, he was present for that, but it just sort of bounced. It bounced straight off of that guy's head. Like, it made like a metallic sound. It was not computing. And if we're being completely real here, that guy, he's not even a foot soldier in the army that feminism is gonna have to convince or fight. You know, like, there are people out there who genuinely believe that women are inferior. There are people out there who genuinely believe that their daughters shouldn't go to school because they're daughters. What incentive is there for somebody like that to change? Because we're sitting here believing that we're right, but he doesn't think that. You know, they think that we're wrong. And what incentive is there for them to actually change their minds? You're telling me that, he's that guy's house, it was in the army. He's probably surrounded by like-minded individuals. He probably works all the time and he's coming home tired, and you're telling me that he's gonna, on top of all of his other, just managing his life, I'm sure he has struggles of his own. On top of managing all of that and his family, he's gonna sort of challenge himself and sort of really look inside of himself. He probably wouldn't do that even if he needed to, or even if he wanted to. But he doesn't want to do that. And here we are trying to tell him to change because it's the right thing to do. It just doesn't make any sense. I think I'll leave it there for now, because I haven't really prepared anything. I feel as if I've said all that I wanted to say. I would love to hear what you guys thought about my story, what you thought about my point in general, to be honest. I'll see you next time.